What hides behind daylight and spreads its wings in the dark? Darkness has frightened people since ancient times. It manifests all the darkest things in this world, as if Lucifer himself is administering his perverted justice under the cover of night. I convinced myself of this, and now I never go outside after sunset. It all started about a month ago. Every evening I go for a run. I like the especially clean air and the almost complete absence of people on the street after sunset. I usually run before bed. I know it's not recommended to do this, but I fall asleep better this way. I turn on my favorite music and run until I get tired in the park not far from home. But lately, every run I've been feeling some kind of anxiety. There was a feeling that someone was watching me from the shade of the trees. I even stopped taking headphones with me in order to better hear what was happening in the darkness of the bushes, but that didn't make it any more comfortable. On the contrary, every sound and rustle causes a panic attack. A few days ago I noticed a strange woman on a park bench. She sat and stared towards the trees. When I almost ran past her, she turned in my direction and said in a cold tone, "Don't anger him. Go home and don't appear here again. He is back." Who is back? Why is she sitting here alone in the dark? I've known a city legend since I was a child that tells that some creature under the cover of night drives people crazy and makes them do terrible things. But that's just gossip, no proof. I don't believe in fairy tales, but I slept anxiously that night. I had nightmares that this woman urged me to believe. Strange games of the subconscious, I thought in the morning. The next evening I went on my traditional run again. Why, because of some crazy woman, should I change my daily routine? Completing my usual circle, I noticed a familiar figure on a bench from afar. But this time the woman was lying. My whole body was covered in goosebumps. I even wanted to escape from there, but what if she needs my help? Carefully coming closer, I noticed that her hand was hanging down and a pencil stained with something red was firmly clamped in it. Her face was turned towards the trees. I'd rather run away. Her eyes, which the last time seemed to me almost motionless, as if glassy, were completely absent, and there were fresh red smudges on her ears. How did she do this to herself? What for? So many questions popped up in my head, and not a single answer. Is what she said true? There was a feeling that she was trying to get rid of what she heard and saw. I know that I should have called the police, but I was struck by such horror that I ran headlong home. I ran with all my might, and the forest mockingly rustled, driving me crazy with its mysterious sounds. It always seemed to me that there was someone in the bushes, that he is watching me, studying me, planning an attack. But that day no one showed up. That's enough, I thought, and the next evening I moved my run from the park to the path along the road. Nothing bad can happen here in front of people, as it seemed to me. From the very beginning it seemed to me that I heard a whisper. With each meter it was heard more and more distinctly, until at last it became clearly distinguishable. It said, "Come to me." One and the same around the circle. It got louder and louder, as if it was shouting over even my own thoughts. Where to me? What does he want? And who is he? Out of fear I rushed home. I quickly closed the door behind me, all the locks, and climbed under the covers. But the voice didn't disappear. It became so loud that I seemed to even see these words with my eyes. Apparently the same thing is happening to me that happened to that elderly woman. All night long until the morning I was haunted by that frightening whisper in my head. Strange sounds I heard from the street, all the same rustle. Looking out the window I saw a dark figure across the road, which beckoned to me with gesture. I didn't see what he looked like at all. He was standing in the dark, in a place where the light of street lamps didn't illuminate him. The most important thing, I thought, was not to go outside. The telephone rang in the kitchen. Maybe not answer the call, but the call didn't stop. It called again and again. In the end, I couldn't stand it and picked up the phone. There was only silence and the sound of heavy breathing. The phone fell out of my hands and I rushed to my room, turning on the light in the entire apartment. Until morning I sat on the bed, dreaming of only one thing, so that the whispering would stop. Terrible thoughts swirled in my head. I was ready to do anything to stop the whispering. But it only got stronger. I put my head in my hands and screamed, trying to drown out that vile voice. I won't stand another night like this, if I make it to morning at all. I told myself to hold on a little longer. And suddenly it was all over. All rustles and sounds disappeared, as if at the snap of fingers. I looked out the window and saw the dawn. I don't think it's even worth saying that I didn't go for a run anymore. The first night after the incident I couldn't sleep. I had the feeling that he lost me. I never went out after dark again. I was so afraid that he would find me, and the second time I couldn't stand it anymore. In the afternoon, I saw news reports that said that a girl had been injured that night. She was found in an unnatural position, covering her ears with her hands, and in her eyes was forever frozen expression of horror.